Let's now talk about place and manner of articulation, which are so important for the production of consonant sounds especially. As I've already explained that once the air has passed through the larynx, it comes up and out through oral cavity or the mouth or the nasal cavity. During this passage, the air could be stopped at various places or obstructed at various places. And during this passage, we also see that tongue and other parts of this process of which are involved in the process of production of sounds may constrict. And because of this constriction, the oral cavity through which the air passes is modified, and then the various forms of sounds are generated. And most of the terms used to describe these sounds are actually related to the place of articulation. And by that we mean that the places where obstruction occurs actually create the titles for various sounds generated because of those obstructions. In this chart, we could see various kinds of sounds which are produced because of these obstructions or articulations. At the first place we have bilabial sounds which are produced when lips are together, and initial consonant sounds in the word pat, bat, mat are the typical examples of these sounds. We have labiodental sounds which are produced when upper teeth is on lower lip, and the typical examples of these sounds are the initial are the sounds in safe and save. Fa and wa sounds in safe and save. Dental are produced when upper teeth is on the tip of tongue, and the initial sounds in words 3 and the last sound in word teeth are the typical examples of these sounds. We also have an example in the word da and there of these sounds. Alveolar sounds are produced when tip of the tongue is on hard ridge behind upper teeth. And the typical examples of these sounds can be found in word top, dip, sit, and zoo. And the sounds like ta, da, sa, they make the examples for alveolar sounds. We also have plato-alveolar sounds which are produced when tip of the tongue is raised towards the roof of the mouth between the alveolar ridge and hard palate. And the typical examples of these sounds could be found in the initial part of word joke, shout, and child. Palatal sounds are produced when front of tongue is raised to hard palate, and the sounds which are palatal could be found in the word yes and yellow. Velar sounds are produced when back of tongue is raised to soft palate, and the sounds like ka, ga in words kill and plague are the typical examples of velar sounds. Glottal sounds are produced between the vocal cords, and ha, typical sound in words like have, house, who could be cited as examples of glottal sounds. Manner of articulation is also very important, and it deals with the kind of obstruction air meets when it comes out of mouth. There could be various kinds of obstruction. Sometimes it could be a complete obstruction, complete closure, and we call them plosives. Sometimes it could be almost complete but not exactly complete. These are fricatives. And on other times there could be a small degree of closure. Let's have a quick look on various kinds of obstructions or manners of obstructions which various sounds might confront. We have stops and plosives which are produced by stopping the airflow in the vocal tract and then releasing it explosively. And pa-ba sounds are the typical examples of this. We have affricates which are produced when a sound that begins as a stop but releases as a fricative. And we got various examples of these sounds as well. We have fricatives as well, which is produced by forcing air through a narrow channel made by placing two articulators close together. And these sounds, a fa sound is a typical example of these sounds. Then nasals, when velum is lowered, allowing air to escape freely through nose. Ma, na sounds could be seen as an example of nasal sounds. Lateral sounds are those which are produced when the airflow is around the sides of the tongue. And approximants are the sounds which are based on the continuous flow of air through the vocal tract. Less friction, there is less friction than a fricative, but more than a vowel. And we could see a ra sound as a typical example of this. We could also divide the manner of articulation into major groups, which may be called obstruents and sonorants. Obstruents could be seen as plosives, fricatives, and affricates. And in case of obstruents, there is a high degree of obstruction when they are produced. And usually they occur in pairs. For example, pa, ba, they occur in pairs. Then sonorants are those sounds where there is less obstruction. So most of these sounds are voiced, and that's why they are called sonorants as well. And these include nasals, lateral, and approximants.